Well, hello once again, and we're on another exciting adventure today. This is Uncle Jimmy with Jimmy's Train Station and Travel Adventures, and I'm in Eckley, Pennsylvania. And today we are visiting the old Eckley's Miners Village. It's a historical village that was a miners' town in the 1800s. In 1854, it was founded by Fillmore. It was renamed for noted mining engineer Eckley Coates. It was built to house coal miners and their families. Many European immigrants. Coal patch towns like Eckley were common in northeast Pennsylvania in the late 1800s and early 1900s. It declined by the 1950s, but the site was restored for the 1970 film The Maguires. And it was converted to a state historical site, which is operated by the Pennsylvania Historical Society today. So follow me on this adventure as we go and tour Eckley Miners Village. So we're starting out here in the visitor center, just checking out the museum a little bit. There's a Civil War uniform and a drum, but I wanted to come in and check out the little museum for a minute before we actually go in the village. There's a film that shows also, which is showing right now, so I don't want to catch that yet. It shows you like what the bedroom would have looked like in the little miner houses. A lot of these little miner towns like this sprouted up West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, back in the 1800s. Replica of a train. You know me, I love my trains. So coal mining was a big industry, still is a big industry here in PA and Kentucky and West Virginia. It goes to show you they even worked young kids back then. If you was like 11 or 12 years old, you could work in the coal mine. A lot of these people died from black lung. Hard job. There's a real coffin, a child's coffin. The old washing machines and washboards, the way they used to do their clothes. Life was hard back then, but people were happy too. A lot less craziness in the world like there is today. I love these old stoves. You don't see many of them anymore. Very interesting. An old Eureka vacuum sweeper there. Then you had your miner stores where you had miner tokens. They paid you so you could buy supplies, food and stuff right out of the miner store. So it was a pretty good deal there for the people to own the mines, because they were getting the money back from their workers that they paid them to do coal. So very smart idea, and that's how these people who owned these coal mines got rich. Paid them low wages, then took their money back for them to buy supplies. Religion, always an important part of the coal miner's life. Well, like I said, the village itself, Paramount filmed a movie in the 1960s and 70s. The Molly. It's about the coal miners, the Maguires. I've never seen that film. If you've seen that film, feel free to leave a comment and tell me about it. I might have to do some research and check that film out. But it's just a little small museum here to show you what life was like during that time. So follow me as we go through the village and check out some of the buildings. So this here building would have been the parish, the preacher's home. And I'm not sure if this building's open. There's only a couple buildings that's actually open. And it's not open. But this would have been the parish house for the church. And like I said, most of these homes were in the 1800s. Now there are just a few buildings that's open, one of them being the church, the two churches, and the other one being a double-sided home in which the coal miners lived in. So we'll go check out the church here. Really neat. Get a view of the street there. And like I said, this is a filming site. Paramount filmed here for the 1968 movie called The Maguires. I'm gonna have to check that film out. So you can't go actually into the church, but you can get a view of it. This is where the miners would have worshiped with their families on Sunday mornings. Very pretty church. So follow me as we walk down through the village here itself. Remove my mask since I'm outside. They did require a mask in the visitor center. So it's really neat to see how they lived in the 1800s. Like I said, a harder time of work, but simpler times in life. These double-sided houses here are what the miners' families would have lived in. And I watched a film in the visitor center there that explained most of these immigrants were from England, Poland, Ireland, and Germany. So these are what the houses look like. There's one that's supposed to be open that you can kind of view inside and see what it looked like. So we will continue down through here. Now at the end of this street, there is what they call the collier, also known as the breaker, where the coal was brought up out of the ground, and they had a breaker there that would shake the coal apart, and the young boys that were old enough to work very small homes would work there as their fathers worked the coal mines. Also, these single men that didn't have families could also board with these families for a small fee. You only got these houses like this if you were married. If you're single, you'd have to board with another family till you were married. Now the bosses, the main bosses, would get their own house, and they wouldn't have to be double homes like this. They would get their own homes, which we will try to look at as we continue down through here. So follow me, and we'll try to find one of these double side ones that's open so we can look inside. So we're continuing on down the street here at Eckley, and looking at some of the coal miners' homes. Really neat to kind of step back in time here. That's the reason Paramount bought this place at one time, just for the filming of the Maguires. But I believe the house up here with the sunflowers up ahead of us is one of the miner homes that you can actually, instead of doors, they got glass put up so you can look inside and see what it looked like. They have it actually restored, where these other ones are not restored inside. They just are the structures left behind. See if we can peek in one of these older ones here and look. But they have nothing in them. As you can see, they're all empty. Still neat, very neat to see. If you like history, it's a neat place to come and see. Now, looking at my brochure, I want to show you some of these buildings and tell you a little about them. But the miner's double dwelling we're going to look at is right up here. Okay, this building here, this brown one, number 9 on the brochure, is the Eckley Social and Sportsman's Club that they had for the miners. And that's that building right there. And here we are at the double dwelling that you can actually go up and look inside. Pretty sunflowers. If my wife was with me today, she would love those. Get a view of those. My wife does adore sunflowers. Thought I would film that for my wife. They got a garden here showing you, and they raise cabbages and potatoes mainly. So here we are, to give you an idea of how they lived through the glass. You didn't have a lot of room. This would have been the bedroom. We'll go around the back side and look. Give you another view there. Then we have the back of the house here. And this looks to be the kitchen. And where you'd sit and eat at the table. So, you know, you had a family of 4, a wife, husband, and 2 kids. You would have enough room, but it would be very tight. And you had one side of the house. So this is what it consisted of: your bedroom, your dining and kitchen area. And there's your wood stove or coal stove, which they probably used coal here since it was a miner's village. And like I said, working for the coal mine companies, these coal mine companies ripped these people off quite a bit. They didn't make a whole lot of money, just enough to live on and survive. This would be the summer kitchen, though, where you could hang hams and stuff. So they would open this up in the summer for the kitchen. Then you have the other side, which is the other family's side of the house. So that there gives you an idea of how they actually lived. Very tight quarters. So if your family is bigger than 4 people, it'd be very tight. Probably have to have some people sleeping on the floor. We'll let you see the other side. It's just the same as the other side of the building, except this would be the other coal miner's bedroom on the other side, family. Here's where the wife would sew at night while her husband slept to get up early to go to the coal mine. So follow me as we continue on this adventure of the Eckley coal miners village. Now during the film I watched in the visitor center, if I'm right, this is the building I was talking about, or the structure that shifted the coal, the breaker, or the collier as it was known, that brought up the coal from the coal mine and was shifted through. But this structure right here is not an original structure. As I take it, I hear that this is the structure that Hollywood built for the 1968 movie, The Maguires. So yes, this is the one they built for the movie. And they decided to leave what's left of it as a historical marker. Here's the big carts that they would use to bring up the coal from the coal mine on tracks like this. Now this could be an original one, I'm not sure. If I don't find another one to show you that Hollywood used, then this must be the one. I will let you know later on in the blog. But also, in the meantime, over here was the company store, like conveniently located in the middle of the town. And like I said, this is where you'd buy all your supplies you needed for to live, you know, your sugar, your flour, your food that you didn't grow, sewing needles, linens, cloths, clothes, shoes. The miners' equipment, they actually were like contracted through the company, so they had to buy their own equipment, believe it or not, to use in the coal mines. The coal mines didn't pay that. They had to come up with their own money for their own equipment, sadly. And also I wanted to mention, I did notice that these double-sided coal mine homes actually have an upstairs. So I guess that's another bedroom on each side. You got the whole upstairs floor too on each side. Now, I'm not sure if other miner families lived on the top floors or just the two families. But there is an upstairs. So follow me as we continue on, and we'll see what else we can find. So we're getting toward the end of the street of the town, and we're coming to single dwelling homes here. And the reason they're single dwelling is these would have been homes to the family of the supervisors, the bosses of the mine that worked for the mine company. And they were a little more privileged. They got to live in the single dwellings. And if you notice here, this one has a mailbox because some of the descendants of these miners are allowed and live in the homes that their forefathers worked in and out of. So I mentioned my buddy back home, Rick Garrison. If he was here, he would enjoy this too. He likes stuff like this, especially these churches, because he's been my best friend since the 6th grade, and he lives in Ohio, where I'm originally from, and he's a preacher now. So that first church we visited, I want to mention, was a Catholic church, where this is a Presbyterian church. So this is just a Protestant religion church here. Beautiful stained glass windows. But this would have been where the Protestants would have worshipped, and the first church we stopped at would have been where the Catholics worshipped. I'm hoping you're able to see in there the pretty stained glass windows. There is one more building I do want to show you before we end this blog. It's supposed to be down here at the end of the street, which was the main house of the main owner of the coal mine. So you'll get to see how much better living that the owner of the coal mine would have had. So follow me as we continue on. So this home here toward the end of the street, and there's some more coal mining buildings over there that they would use to work on their equipment. But this home here was the company doctor for the village. So the coal mine had actually a company doctor. And I was right, the collier back here that we looked at earlier, the structure I told you about, Hollywood, now that's the one Hollywood made. I was right. And but it does sit near where one of the 3 original structures was, that where you brought up the coal and it was shifted through. So that one was the one that Hollywood built for the set, Paramount, for the Molly movie I was talking about, the Molly Maguires, and I believe it was 1968 that was filmed, which I'm gonna have to try to check that out sometime and watch the movie. So we are coming up on the last structure that we're going to be viewing on this vlog, and this last structure was the owner of the coal mine's home. So you can see how much better they lived, especially the owner of the coal mine. I can actually smell the coal. Because if you look over there, across the way, that's where they're, I guess they'd be strip mining coal. To this day, it's still active coal mining here. Not as much as it did in the 1800s, but they still do. So this is the home of the owner of the coal mine, where he would have lived, him and his family. So as you can see, he had his own beautiful home, and of course he was living good. The money the coal miners were making. So I hope you've enjoyed this vlog today, as we went on this adventure together at the Eckley miners town. A lot of history here. So if you ever get up this way, it's in Eckley, Pennsylvania, and you like this kind of stuff, recommend you coming up with your family. Right now with the pandemic, unless you have your own tour guide, which they're kind of short-handed on people right now, you can enter a lot more of these buildings. But as of right now, you can't enter any. You can just go up and look into the two churches and the double-sided home. And so in the meantime, if you're watching this vlog, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Feel free to leave a comment or suggestion of other things you would like to see in the future. Hit the notification bell in the upper right hand corner to let you know when I've uploaded a new video. And please share this post with your friends and family to let them know about me and my YouTube channel, to get it out there for me. And I do appreciate your support. And this has been Uncle Jimmy with Jimmy's Train Station and Travel Adventures. Till next time, get out there and have your own adventures and enjoy life. Life's too short. You need to get out and enjoy it, see things. So till then, till we do another one, it's been Uncle Jimmy. Goodbye.